Good morning, St Mungos. Welcome to Midweek Word Live. I am back for a third time, which must mean I have something to say for a third occasion. I'm not sure how many more I've got in me, but we'll see how we get on. So welcome, Wendy Brown. I'm on the staff team this morning. It looks like we've got 17 people via Facebook, which is brilliant. And hopefully a few on YouTube as well. I'll just go to the chat and see who has joined us this morning. We have Gregor. Good morning, Gregor. Hope everyone has a great day. Hope you do too. We have morning church bright here in Kirk Newton. So I reckon it's either Susan or Kathleen, and it is Susan Masterton. Good morning, Susan. It is relatively bright here in Bathgate. Bright and noisy last night. So when I was going to bed relatively early, I won't confess what time I went to bed last night, but as I got into bed, there was a loud noise, like a bomb was about to drop from the sky, and it was Air Force One heading over the town of Bathgate, heading home, so taking Joe Biden home. So yeah, it's quieter this morning. Definitely a loud noise last night. Morning, Wendy. I think that is Susan saying good morning. Good morning, Susan. Morning, everyone. It's quite mild outside for November. Hope everyone has a great day. It is mild, and I've put a hoodie on this morning, so I suspect I'm going to be too hot. Good morning, Carol. Thank you for coming on this morning. So many of you are faithful to Midweek Word Live. No matter who appears on the screen, you're always tuning in. So thank you. Thank you that you don't appear to have any favourites. So that's helpful for us newbies as well. Good morning, Helen. Thank you for joining us. Somebody is having tea and toast already. Oh wow, tea and toast. Waiting for my feed to catch up. Kate Clegg is joining us this morning with tea and toast. Sounds like a cosy way to start the morning. Good, thanks for joining us, Kate. Good morning, all. Morning, Anya. We look forward to seeing you in the office shortly. And who else? Morning, all. What a beautiful morning. Thank you, Linda. It is a gorgeous morning as the clouds clear. And like most people are reporting, it is mild. Long may that continue. Amanda McDonald, hello from sunny Ilfracombe. Oh, now here's a quiz. Where is Ilfracombe? I think it's North Devon. And the reason I think that is because I watched a TV detective drama last week, and it was filmed in Ilfracombe. So I suspect I've had a bit of knowledge there. Amanda, you can correct me if I am incorrect, but I hope you're having a lovely time in what I think is North Devon. Good morning, Wendy, and good morning, church, on this glorious autumnal morning. Who is appreciating the autumn? Catherine. Catherine is appreciating the autumn with all her emojis. I wonder what Catherine had for breakfast this morning. If you're following Catherine on Facebook, on her Facebook profile, you'll see that she has adapted her eating habits for the next couple of weeks. So yeah, no idea what she has ventured into this morning. Good morning, great to have you back. Good morning, Caroline Simpson. Thank you very much. Good to be back. Good to be back. We'll see if we're still saying that at 9 o'clock, but it is nice to come back. It's actually, I'm amazed at how easy it is just to sit and talk to a camera. I never thought I could do that. So you learn something new about yourself all the time. Yay, Wendy. Good morning. Great to see you again. Morning, everyone. Thank you, Kathleen. Good to have you on again. Again, one of our faithful Midweek Word Live followers. Those of you that are willing to get up early and join us, thank you. And good morning, watching you on YouTube, but you're unable to comment. Sorry, whoever is unable to comment on YouTube this morning. I'm not sure why that would be. Good morning, Sue. Nice to have you on this morning. Yep, North Devon. So I was correct. I was watching the TV drama properly and carefully. I have to say it looked absolutely stunning. So maybe a good holiday destination for those of you that want to stay in the UK maybe next year. North Devon, Ilfracombe did look absolutely stunning. Yeah, North Devon, lovely place. Been on holiday there. Hope you're having a lovely time, Amanda, and it's relaxing and probably a good time of year to avoid the tourists as well. It's North Devon. What was the TV programme you watched? Now here we go. This is the test. It was called The Long Call, and it was a four-parter on ITV last week, and it's based around the book by Anne Cleeves. So Anne Cleeves has written multiple detective stories, and she's got a range of characters. So that would be my recommendation. The Long Call. If you're looking for a short TV drama, four-parter, it's probably still on, I don't know, ITV Hub or something like that. And you know, quite right, Wendy. I was just there last week, and Helen is also a great advocate for Devon. So if you're looking for holiday locations in Devon, I would point you in the direction of Helen Udall. Who else this morning? Catherine has breakfast. Grated apple, sliced pear, a handful of oats, and a splash of apple juice. Yum. And a cup of hot water. Yeah, I'm not sure I think it's yum, but yeah, I'm sure you enjoyed it. I reckon you might be hungry later, but I'm not saying anything else. Actually sounds very refreshing. Yeah, I will let you debate that all separately at another occasion. I just don't like pear, so if I don't like pears, it just doesn't grab me, I'm afraid. But I'll argue that with Catherine later. Okay, so we'll move on because I'm realising I'm blethering and just filling a gap here. So my question for this morning, because I'm the first one on Midweek Word Live in November, I feel it's only right that I can broach the subject of Christmas. So your question for this morning is, what do you do to try to keep Christ in Christmas? So that's your question for this morning. What do you do to try to keep Christ in Christmas? And I suppose I was thinking about this because Andrew and I, our families, none of them have a faith in Jesus. So our experience of Christmas, either growing up or more recently in adulthood, is Christmas tends to miss its meaning within our family setting. And so Andrew and I make a particular effort in the run up to Christmas to make sure that our focus is on Jesus, as family occasions means it gets missed, it doesn't even get mentioned, and it's such a significant part of our faith. So we have some little traditions that we started when we got married, and one of the things we do is we watch the Nativity in the run up to Christmas. So that's the BBC version of the Nativity, looking at the story of Christmas, not the film version of the Nativity. So that's one of the things we would do together in the run up to Christmas, just making sure our focus is on Jesus as we approach Christmas. Our time with our family is good over Christmas, but it can be tense, and the meaning of Christmas can get missed. So that is one of our traditions. Our other tradition is that we actually have Christmas Day, just the two of us. So we visit family before and after Christmas, but Christmas Day is very much for us to be together and to focus on Jesus. Who do we have coming through? Tracy Robertson, Ellie Robertson, you were wonderful last time you were on. Thank you. I benefited from your words. Thank you very much, Tracy, for sharing that. So any other comments? Had that one. Kathleen, I'm with you. Wendy, I haven't got Catherine's strength. Linda, yeah, Catherine's much more tenacious when it comes to foodie things and trying something different. So yeah, she's one in a million. So as you think about the question, might be a tricky one to come up with an answer this morning. But as you think about that question, I'm going to change tact this morning. Ollie has regularly done a book of the week, and as you found out last time, I am a very slow reader. I don't read a lot of Christian books right through to the end. So I've actually exhausted my book recommendations. So I'm going to go slightly different. I'm going to give you my worship album of the week. So my recommendation would be Leland, who are a band from the States, actually in Nashville, and they've got an album called Better Word. And I would recommend that album if you're looking for something new. It's very Jesus focused. There's a particular song on the album that I listen to a lot. That's in my top 3 on my playlist, worship playlist, and it's "Wait Upon the Lord." And there's a few lines in it that says, "As we wait on you, I can sing out a song of expectation, a song of hope, that you will do all that you said you would do through your Son." So if you're looking for a new album, something different to listen to, I would recommend that this morning. And it's available on various music streaming platforms. So whatever your go-to is, you should be able to find that album this morning. We'll come back to the chat, and we have some responses. Caroline, church on Christmas morning or watch night, then we have a cake on Christmas Day. When the kids were little, we would sing "Happy Birthday to Jesus." That is lovely. Thank you, Caroline. Important to have something that's a tradition at Christmas that incorporates Jesus into that. Amanda McDonald, I have a nativity scene in my lounge which is visible for the whole of December. We'll be watching The Chosen again through December too. Yeah, I've heard lots of good things about The Chosen. I think there's an app as well available. The nativity scene, what's a good reminder, we actually keep we've got a wooden nativity scene that we bought in Berlin many years ago, and we keep that's in our living room all year round, and it's just a good reminder through the year. So thank you for sharing that, Amanda. Last year we were given names of Jesus Advent candle, different name every day. That's a great idea. I like that, Emma. Maybe a picture as we get to December. You could post that on Facebook so we can see what that looks like. That would be great. Last year I followed a series of readings through Advent, which really helped me. Yeah, thank you, Sue. That's also another way to just get our hearts and our minds prepared for Advent. Thank you, Sue. And another one, I try to send Christmas cards with a biblical message to everyone, whether they are Christians or not. And that is Susan. Thank you, Susan. So we will move on to the word for this morning. I've probably bitten off more than I can chew here. So I spent a lot of last year reading through Romans, or focusing on Romans 5, 3-5, which talks about developing patience and rejoicing in hope. And they were really important verses to me, but it's never good to just cherry pick a couple of verses. You need to read the verses before and after. So I've taken the first couple of verses for this morning, which, as I say, I perhaps have bitten off more than I can chew this morning. So hopefully you can stay with me. If it starts to feel a bit muddled in your head, stay to the end, because hopefully there's something helpful at the end. So the verses for this morning, I say that my focus really would have been 3 to 5, and I'll pick those up next time. This is going to be a two-parter. But I really want to look at verses 1 and 2 because they're challenging but encouraging. But they're verses that we can't avoid because they explain our faith and our relationship with Jesus. So Romans 5, 1 to 2 says, "Therefore, since we have been made right in God's sight by faith, we have peace with God because of what Jesus Christ our Lord has done for us. Because of our faith, Christ has brought us into this place of undeserved privilege where we now stand, and we confidently and joyfully look forward to sharing God's glory." And the verses goes on to say that we rejoice in times of problems and trials, and how we develop endurance and our character is developed, and then it goes on to say that this hope will not lead to disappointment. So those later verses I'm going to do as a second part in a couple of weeks' time. But this morning I just want to think about the reminder of the peace we have with God, which supersedes earthly circumstances. This peace cannot be taken from us. And the passage that I just read, the two verses, and the ones we'll look at in a couple of weeks' time, the passage talks about our past, it talks about our present, and it talks about our future. And for each of us, we maybe feel a little nervous thinking about one of those periods of time, and that can be dependent on what stage of life we're at and our current circumstances. So in Romans 5, Paul wants the Christians in Rome to understand how the radical love that Jesus demonstrated in the past, how his death and resurrection should radically affect their present, and that applies to us now. So because of what Jesus did back then, our now should be defined by the astounding reality of peace with God and grace from God. So Jesus did not set us free and then cast us off and leave us to our own devices. God redeemed us that we would know him. So there's a purpose for redeeming him, that we would know him, that we would love him, and that we would serve him. And what's amazing here is that God declares us acceptable. And if you think back to Genesis, to the life of Abraham, he didn't earn his relationship with God. He was God's friend. He was given that right at the beginning of his relationship with God when he believed in God. So this is faith. This is what faith is. So when Abraham believed that God could and would do what he had promised, Abraham was declared the friend of God, and he entered into that close relationship with God that characterized his life. And that is what it means to be justified. So the start of the verse talks about how we're made right by faith. So you receive this with no merit on your part, but by faith alone, by believing God's promise, which is according to the work of his Son. So that is justification. Justification is to change something, it's to relabel it, and it's God's gift to us. So since we have been justified by faith, the sure result is that we have peace with God. As you think about your life and your relationship with God, if you really have believed that God has made you right, justifies you when you were far away from him, you will have peace with God. That is a promise. That's not a half-hearted attempt to lure us. That's fact. You are in the family of God, and all the conflict between you and God is ended. The separation is gone, and you're at peace with him. And that peace is not simply the absence of conflict. we have been reconciled. So that means there's a restoration of relationship. I know that all sounds really heavy, but I've been a Christian a long time. I've been a Christian 27 years, and actually I forget what that relationship, how that relationship came into being. I sometimes forget where that started and the meaning of that. Sometimes I move on to the good bits about being in relationship with Jesus, but this is at the core of our faith. And it got me thinking back to my own life and where I've experienced conflict and how I felt at that time. So in my early childhood years, I was surrounded by conflict within the family home. My dad was an alcoholic and a gambler. He worked offshore on the oil rigs for 2 weeks at a time. So he'd be away for 2 weeks on the rigs, and then he would come home. And for 2 weeks, he had nothing to do. He was bored. His work had finished for 2 weeks, and he turned to alcohol and gambling for his entertainment, to dull the boredom, for various reasons, I guess. And this brought incredible stress on the family, to my parents' marriage, and I was aware of the impact it was having on them and their relationship with me and my siblings. So every 2 weeks when my dad was at home, there was conflict and there was turmoil and there was just no let up. It was hard times. It was scary and it was very unpredictable. And my dad didn't know how to be a father, and it snowballed from there. So my upbringing, my experience, my memories could have scarred me, and for a while they did. And thankfully, after many hours of counselling, I managed to move on and be healed emotionally. But that experience also shaped me, which will lead into the second half of this passage, which I'll share more of later in November. So God intervened in my life when I was in turmoil, and we enjoy the peace that comes from being made right with God, but we still face daily problems. We're not exempt from that. And those problems often help us to grow. We maybe don't realize that at the time. And we learn to depend on the power available to us from Christ, who lives in us by the Holy Spirit. So the thing about the end of conflict is it's expressed in rejoicing and peace. And I guess what's poignant at the moment is we're moving towards Remembrance Sunday, and as many veterans of wars long ago and wars of more recent times remember the end of conflict. Particularly we think about the end of World War II and the images we've seen in films and news stories where people have retold stories where hundreds of people have poured out into the streets with rejoicing because they were at peace. And that's what happens in our hearts when we understand that we have been made right by faith. The separation is over. We're at peace with God, and all conflict has ceased. And the thing I love about these first 5 verses of Romans is Paul mentions the Trinity throughout the 5 verses. We have peace with God, the Father, through Jesus, and God has given us the Holy Spirit. Each person of the Trinity plays a significant role as we become part of God's family. And just to finish off, the verse I'd love you to take away and look through today and meditate on is Isaiah 26:3, and it's the Amplified version. And it says, "You will keep in perfect and constant peace the one whose mind is steadfast, that is committed and focused on you in both inclination and character, because he trusts and takes refuge in you with hope and confident expectation." And for me, I find my peace when I'm totally dependent on Jesus, because I have that hope, and he's for me, and he totally loves me in the in the good times and the hard times. So I would recommend taking some time to look at Isaiah 26:3. So there's a very brief introduction to Romans 1-2. Somebody could preach on that for about a month. There is so much in it, but I hope that's helpful to some of you this morning. Just a reminder that we have peace with God, and what He is, how we have come to faith, and what He has done for us. Okay, time is marching on. I have a couple of words from the Father this morning, and then I will nip back and see what's in the chat. So a couple of a picture I had in the last few days was of a train coupling. So train couplings keep carriages together. They take the strain as one carriage moves forward and then pulls the next carriage along. It's just a reminder that you are important in the life of the church. We each have a role to be a train coupling, to stay connected with the front of the carriage, the church, and connecting to those further along the track who are maybe struggling, who are maybe slowing down, not able to keep pace. And just want to encourage you that God sees those of you who have the gift of keeping people connected. You're invaluable. Never grow weary of doing this amazing work within the church. So that might be helpful for someone this morning. The other one was Psalm 34:3, where it says, "Oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us lift up his name together." The thing about magnifying the Lord is it's about making him large or bigger in your life. To exalt his name means to promote who God is and to talk about his reputation. And I just sense this morning for someone that you'll have an opportunity today to share this with someone who needs to hear it, to share just how large, how big God is in your life. And I just pray for courage to seize the opportunity because you have an amazing story to tell. Never doubt your testimony, the impact that can have on someone. So that's the words from the Father today. And we'll just have a quick look at the chat and see who's come in here. Wendy, thank you so much for your words today. I lost my younger son through alcohol when he was 39, and your words really touched me. Thank you, Linda. Thank you for sharing that. It's hard. Alcohol can be so destructive to the individual, but just the impact it has on the whole family is very difficult. So thank you, and just pray that you have good support and people around you who can love you and and just be a listening ear at times when you need that. I'm trying to now rapidly catch up with the chat. Where do we have? Carol shared about also, like Susan, Christmas cards. I send the biblical message. Yeah, I think anything we can do to just be open about our faith. I always think little moments make a difference, and sharing why we believe what we believe, and actually that we believe. Sometimes we do hide that, and I think at Christmas time it's a helpful time to be a bit more open, isn't it? So thank you. All the way from Shanghai, JD, thank you. This is excellent and much needed. Thank you, JD, and thanks for joining us all the way from Shanghai. It's probably late into the day for you. Thank you so much, Wendy. Just rapidly tracking back the chat. Thank you, Kate. Thank you for your encouragement this morning. Emma Galloway, here's a link on Eden. Great. So if you're looking for the Jesus Advent candle, keep saying calendar as candle, go to Eden. Thank you, Emma, for putting the link up, and that will be on the comments later if you've missed that this morning. Got that one. Thank you again, Linda. Amanda, thank you for your encouraging words. Thank you, Amanda. Thanks for your honesty, Wendy, and your helpful words. Thanks, Susan. Appreciate your appreciation. Thank you, Wendy White, for being on this morning. Thank you, Caroline, for your encouragement. Thank you again, Wendy, so much in your Midweek Word Live this morning. I really appreciate your wisdom and honesty. Alcohol addiction has been in my family too. Thank you, Kathleen. Yeah, it's so hard because in Scotland it is particularly an issue. Drugs and alcohol addiction is rife in Scotland, sadly. So it's a difficult. It's difficult when it's coming into your family setting as well, and sometimes we think we would do things differently when we see it in other people's family situations, but when the reality hits your family, it can be hard. But it's amazing what the power of God in your life can do to help you handle it and deal with it and respond with it. So I appreciate the verses this morning were tricky, but I do think it's important to remember how and why we came to faith, and just what Jesus has done for each one of us, and how we are totally rooted in him. I am slightly over time, so very quick notices this morning. We have Friday Night Youth are having a bonfire evening at Alan and Anne McDonald's on the Limfoy Road is where they live. Johnny has sent a church suite email out to parents. There will be bonfire treats, and they will start at 7:30. So that's Friday night. The forecast looks dry, so they're going to have a brilliant night on Friday night. If you have a young person in youth, do encourage them to come along and to wrap up warm. And then Livy on Sunday morning back at St Margaret's at 10:30. Ollie will be speaking on caring for God's creation, and it will be online. It will be streamed to YouTube for everyone else outside of the Livingston congregation, and there will be 0 to 18 groups running alongside that on Sunday. And I think that's all the notices. I will just pray very briefly and then let you all begin your Wednesday and getting over the hump of the week. So God, we do thank you for what you have done for each one of us, that we have been made right with you, that there is nothing we could have done to earn that. Thank you for what you've done through Jesus for each one of us. Thank you that we have a living faith with a living God. And we just pray for your equipping as we go into our day. And we thank you that the Holy Spirit equips us and guides us as we live for you. And we just ask these things in your precious name. Amen. Okay, folks, have a glorious Wednesday, and we will see you again soon. Thanks for now.